Alright, welcome back to the channel on the 70 again today. I did a little bit of stuff, just the small stuff here to get out of the way so I can work on. I just got the B-pillars in the mail, so I'm going to be replacing those first. And I'll show you also what I'm going to be doing today is clean up the rest of the areas that the quarter panels are going to cover. So all of this inner structure that you see that's exposed right now gets covered with a quarter, and you can't really get in there. You could use a spray nozzle on a paint can, but you won't get it as good as you can while it's exposed. So I'm going to remove the rest of just the quarter up here. I did the rest of the quarter around the rest of the way. I'm going to remove that so I can get that exposed, and there is some pinholes that are popping through under that, so I think there's going to be a little bit of rust under that lead, but we'll figure that out. And then I'm going to spray the backs of these panels. And once I get the B-pillar changed out, I'll also spray behind that also, so everything back here will be covered and coated and good to go. I also put the latches in. There it's clicked to the second one. Everything lines up perfect. They are right where they need to be. So what I'm going to do, set up the GoPro, and we'll do one side at a time. I'll start on the driver's side, do that B-pillar, move to the passenger side, do that B-pillar, and then we'll move back to the quarters. just to give a little context on this area here where everything overlaps, these spot welds that are under that lead, with just first off that lead, you can see I used a mini torch because you don't want to overheat this upper panel. If you're going to end up keeping it, it's going to warp it. So putting too much heat in it, you try and keep it moving as best you can, and just get that lead hot enough to scrape it out of the way. And you can see I angle my torch in certain directions to where it's not really shooting up the panel. But these spot welds are holding all three panels here: the roof, the quarter panel, and then the inner structure. So I just drill through all three of them, and then in the end I would fill that. I'd put your quarter panel in place, you would pinch it together. A lot of times I screw everything together so it draws everything tight, weld that hole shut, and then I'd go on the inside and weld the other hole shut because that's through all three panels. So then everything's welded back structurally like it should be. But for this, you can see I uncovered some rust holes, and actually on the inside that inner structure is rusted out along there. I think it's because of the mice that were in there. So I'm actually going to cut off this section of the roof to expose that so I can replace that inner structure underneath to make sure I have something to weld everything to in the end. This side's even worse, which is a shame to have to cut out some of that roof section. But in the end, I'm most likely going to be replacing the roof anyway, so I don't have to splice that together. It does have dents through the roof panel anyway, but we'll cross that one later on. That's way towards the end of doing all the sheet metal. So for now, I'm going to cut out those roof sections, replace that metal underneath, and then I'll work on priming all this inner structure that gets covered up with the quarter panels. Checking back on the quarters, you can see everything's coated now. A couple coats of primer. Put in a patch on both sides under where I cut off that roof skin. So now I can weld sections back onto it, and everything's good to go there. Also coated on the bottom side of the rear window panel, and I actually did all the inner structure that's going to stay. I coated that with some primer a while, just so it's coated, because it's going to sit for a little bit until it's ready for paint, because there's a lot of work that's going to go into this car before it goes to paint. Test fitting the drive line, suspension, all that kind of stuff. I have the fuel system ordered pretty much to the point where you can almost start it. I'm assembling this car, so those will all be videos coming up before it gets sent to paint, and then I'll strip it down, send it to paint, get it back, and then it should go together like a breeze. I have the doors just sitting latched in place, and I primed the outer cowl side panels on both sides too, just so it was covered. So, which leads me to my next thing. That's going to be it for working on the shell for a little bit. I'm actually going to be doing, I have a 67 fastback that I need to do. That's getting the Mustang Zafira front and rear suspension, which if you follow me on Instagram, I'll put up pictures of it. I won't do any videos on it. So there'll be videos in between on this though. There's stuff that I'll be able to do. I should be getting the suspension soon, which I can actually just swing that up into place to give you an idea of what that's going to look like, and then I could possibly test fit some other things to know when I'm back on this, to make it a little bit easier to move smooth when I'm back on this car. So real happy with where it's at this point, but that's it for this one for a little bit. But I also have all my shipments of parts coming in, so I'll do updates on parts and all that and just different ideas. And I'll actually have an update on stuff here soon for parts. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a like, comment. I try to get back to everyone. And thanks for watching.